mentioned are known to me. They're all friends of mine and colleagues, and Bob Blake and Nisha Biswal and Lynn Tracy and all of those people, Susan Elliott. They're all good colleagues, and
Came back from Tajikistan.
that's right. She's back now. Although actually, I think she's in Germany right now.
Yeah?
She's in
What
Germany.
about Robert Blake?
Robert Blake is our
Indonesia, yes.
yes, he's our ambassador to Indonesia. I think one of the reasons why we value this relationship with your community so much is because it carries on a tradition that's very much American of communities within the United States organizing themselves, being active in public life, being active politically, being active in supporting their brethren who still live in the country where they came from, and also contributing to the strength of America. I think that's part of what makes America strong, is all of the communities we have here. The two things that really impressed me about your community from what I've learned so far, and I have much more to learn, is the emphasis on tradition and maintaining the tradition, and the emphasis on building a community and having a sense of that it's one community and people support each other and they help each other.
It's very important.
It's very important, and that's and I like to think that I grew up in a similar kind of community, and I know that we all know, of course, there are many varieties of Judaism, but there are things we share in common. Of course, the Torah and our history and our connection to Israel. These are all things that we share in common, no matter where our ancestors came from. I came from a community in Cleveland, Ohio, and I know I learned from Boris a few weeks ago that there's a Bukharan community in Cleveland too. But I grew up in a synagogue in Cleveland that was very tight and close and small, very small, only about 100 families, but very, very strong sense of community. And the other thing that was part of my childhood, which I shared with Boris when I saw him in Washington, was that my father, whose name was Louis Rosenblum, was one of the founders of a movement in the United States to help Jews in the Soviet Union emigrate. He started his activity in 1962 in Cleveland. He started what was called, then it was called the Cleveland Council on Soviet Anti-Semitism. And he organized this with some of his friends in the synagogue. And then they found people in other American cities who were also interested in the issue. There was a community in the Soviet Union that no one knew about in America, and nobody knew that there were Jews who wanted to practice their religion or who wanted to emigrate to Israel or somewhere else. And they raised awareness. That's what they did, education, raising awareness. And eventually, they also lobbied the U.S. government to change its policies toward the Soviet Union, including adopting you may know, the Jackson-Vanik Amendment, to put pressure on the Soviet Union to allow emigration.
Let my people go.
Let my people go, yes.
Welcome, my people.
And I was very interested to hear Mr. Kondrov's story about his own effort to emigrate over many, many years. But my father was very active in this, and so I feel a strong connection to everyone who's emigrated to the United States or to Israel, coming from those lands of the Soviet Union.
No, first of all, I want to say the coming president of our community center, Mr. Simcha Shaev, very close to Central Asia, and for all these people from Central Asia, and our director of museum, Mr. Aaron Aronov, Central Asian Foreign Jews Museum, is first of the world. The director is here. He was personal translator on President Nixon when he was in Tashkent.
Yeah.
He was in Tashkent.
Very
He
honored.
didn't want president during this time.
I had this honor.
And when he was president?
No, he didn't want
Oh,
president.
after.
After.
It was his
Nixon
second
was
trip.
president.
The first trip of President Nixon to the Soviet Union was in 59, I think
Ah,
it was
when he was
when
vice
he was
president.
vice president and president was Eisenhower.
Yes.
Second trip, this was his presidential campaign, 1966 or 67.
Mhm.
And then when he came back to America and he was elected as the president, then it was third trip he came to Russia.
Mhm.
And when he was elected for the second term, he made fourth trip. And then this was Watergate affair happened.
Mhm.
And there was Brezhnev also went to the United States. So Nixon had 4 trips to the Soviet Union.
Mm.
If he didn't see there, he never would be president. You understand?
Yeah. Good. So in any case, I'm very honored to be here and to be received by your community. And as I said, it's a special feeling for me because of my own history and my family's history.